Good morning, this is Federico Bentley from Ayondo Markets giving you this morning's market update. This morning we focus on Greece, where shares plunged 16% yesterday as the Athens Stock Exchange opened for the first time in 5 weeks. The rout was led by bank shares, where National Bank of Greece plummeted 30%, Alpha Bank dropped 29.81%, Eurobank fell 29.86%, and Piraeus Bank tanked 30%. Banks account for almost 20% of the main Athens index, and as Greece's financial sector needs to really be recapitalised. Now, looking at other European markets, UK 100 rollings trading 5 points lower this morning. As for the France 40 rollings trading 20 points below, and looking at the Germany 30 rolling, it's pretty stagnant for the day, 2 points lower. Now, skipping across the pond, investor sentiment was hit yesterday after weaker than expected manufacturing figures came out of China, and the benchmark Brent crude dropped below $50 per barrel. Wall Street ended lower yesterday as tumbling oil price dragged energy shares to a 3-year low. The Wall Street rolling fell 91.46 points, or 0.52%, to 17,598.4. The US 500 lost 5.86 points, or 0.28%, to 2,097.98. And as for the US tech rolling, dropped 12.90 points, or 0.25%, to 5,115.38. Apple fell about 2% to $118 a share, below its 200-day moving average and in correction territory. In other news, the City was left shocked yesterday after former UBS and Citigroup trader Tom Hayes was convicted of 8 counts of conspiracy to defraud in connection with the LIBOR fixing scandal. Justice Jeremy Cook sentenced the 35-year-old former City worker to 14 years in jail for his part in the manipulation of the LIBOR benchmark interest rate, the crucial convention for around £288 trillion of financial contracts and consumer loans between 2006 and 2010. The UK government raised £2.1 billion from selling Royal Bank of Scotland Group plc shares at a discount, its first disposal since the lender received the world's largest bank bailout. The sale of a 5.4% stake at 330 pence apiece to money managers will cut the taxpayers' holding to 72.9% from 78.3%, according to a statement on Tuesday. The shares closed at 337.6 pence on Monday before the start of the sale process. Chancellor of the Exchequer, George Osborne, took a loss on Monday's sale as he tries to revive investor appetite in the bank, 7 years after it became Britain's biggest casualty of the financial crisis. RBS, which has since shrunk its investment bank, still trades for less than the price the government paid for its stake. Meanwhile, the UK has sold part of its Lloyds Banking Group plc holding at a profit. Looking at the commodity sectors, mining stocks were dealt a body blow yesterday, with one index dropping to a 13-year low as Chinese manufacturing PMI data dragged the commodities markets down yet again. The data, which came out yesterday morning, showed that the downturn in China's manufacturing sector intensified at the start of the third quarter. Production was cut at the fastest rate since November 2011, while purchasing activity declined at its sharpest rate since January 2012. According to analysts, the numbers were the reason that commodities equities took a hammering yesterday, a view borne out by the fact that the Bloomberg Commodity Index fell to its lowest level since 2002. Among the biggest mining groups listed on the London Stock Exchange, Anglo American was down by 3.97%, BHP Billiton down by 3.85%, and Glencore was down 3.68%. Brent crude oil has fallen below $50 a barrel to hit a 6-month low. ICE September Brent crude, which acts as a global benchmark, fell 18% in July. Having fallen by almost 5% in the first session of August trading, it lost more than $2, falling to $49.58 per barrel, its weakest price since January 30th. Over the year, the price of ICE Brent crude oil has fallen by 52.44%. Oil prices have been hit by weaker demand and rising supply, especially due to resurgence of US production. Now for some corporate news. Standard Life Group operating profit before tax rose to £290 million in the first half of this year, from £274 million a year earlier. Just Eat reported revenue rose 54% to £107.8 million in the 6 months ended 30th June. Chipmaker Arm announced that Lawton Fitt and Stephen Pusey would join as independent non-executive directors on 1st September. Ministers last night fired the starting gun on returning Royal Bank of Scotland to private hands, offloading a £2 billion stake in the bank 7 years after it was rescued by taxpayers. Now looking at some key data in focus, we have the PMI construction for the UK at 9:30 this morning, and the producer price index for the European Union at 10 a.m. this morning. That's all for today's news, so thank you very much for listening, and all the best on your day's trading.